I'm going to call the meeting of Maple Run Unified School District Board of Directors for February 4th to order. The time is 6 p.m. We have a quorum based on our present members and our remote members. We have Jack, Marianne, and myself on remote. Next item is the agenda review. I have one minor change. I'd like to move item 8C, high reliability schools, to a new 6C, high reliability schools. If there are no objections, I'd like to approve the agenda as amended. I'm seeing no objections, okay. Next item is the Pledge of Allegiance. Please stand and join me for a Pledge of Allegiance to the flag. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Next item on the agenda is visitors. In here. Close. Just trying to change my view. Are there any visitors in the room that want to address the board?
Yes.
Just checking to see if there are any visitors in the room that wish to address
Yes, we have some
address the
here.
board. Am I hearing none?
No, we have someone.
Oh, okay. So let me, just give me a second, please. I just got to read a whole preamble. So the visitor sections, public comment, visitors of the meeting is an opportunity for community members to address issues of concern about policy, budget, and administration matters, or to share ideas about how we can work together to improve our schools. We value input and respect divergent views. We ask you to limit your remarks to 3 minutes per topic and refrain from airing grievances with individual members of the school community, including respecting the privacy of the students and parents. Those attending remotely may type their full name in the comment section of the application, and if they wish to speak, and during the meeting, the comments will be disabled. Before you speak, I'd like to have you state your name and the town of residence. Okay, now, somebody in the room wish to speak? Speak?
Yep.
First time. My name is Jessica Justice. Am I good to go? All right.
I'm gonna have to ask you to speak just a little bit louder.
My name is Jessica Justice. I live in St. Albans Town.
Thank you.
Thank you for the opportunity to speak this evening. I'm here to respectfully appeal the denial of my son Drew's eligibility to wrestle this season and to request clearer written policies that no other student and family faces the situation in the future. For clarity, athletic eligibility consists of attendance, academic standing, insurance, emergency contact, and current sports physical. Drew meets all of these requirements. Drew is a freshman who wrestles through a local wrestling club as an independent athlete. In early January, 4 high school students from this club, including my son, were turned away from a tournament because of their eligibility was not signed by their athletic director. This was the first time families and coaches were informed of eligibility sign-off was required for students competing independently in wrestling, whether at a JV or varsity level. Until that moment, everyone believed that the students were participating appropriately and in good faith. These 4 students attend different schools: BFA Fairfax, MBU, BFA St. Albans. BFA Fairfax supported their student by working with the BPA to serve as the host school. MVU also supported their student by signing off eligibility. The other BFA St. Albans student dropped out of wrestling following the denial. To outline the timeline, January 6th, I requested eligibility approval. The 7th, the request was denied because school does not offer wrestling. The 8th, I appealed to the principal and was told that a BPA-sanctioned host school was required. The 13th, I provided confirmation that BFA Fairfax was serving as the host school. The 15th, a new denial was issued citing December 1st winter sports registration deadline. The 16th, I appealed to the superintendent. The 29th, I was informed that the decision was supported by BFA procedures. February 3rd, I was notified that no exception would be made this season. I continue to struggle to understand the true basis of this denial. There is no published policy or procedures addressing students who participate in sports not offered by the school. There is also no December 1st registration deadline posted in the handbook or elsewhere for the situation. In the absence of this in the absence of written district policy, I respectfully ask why the district would not adhere to BPA guidelines when the sport is not offered by the school. The BPA framework clearly allows a host school, requires verification of eligibility, and permits registration for wrestling through February 15th. Wrestling is also recognized as an independent sport, and neighboring schools have supported their students under the same circumstances. There is no cost asked of the school. The only person harmed by this decision is Drew. I have brought documentation demonstrating Drew's eligibility in good standing. I respectfully ask the board to approve his eligibility so that he may finish this wrestling season and to direct the administration to develop and publish clear written policies for independent and club athletes moving forward. I am more than willing to work with BFA this spring to help establish a clear path for future seasons. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Okay, thank you very much. Anyone else wish to speak that's in the room? Is there anyone on remote that wishes to speak?
They might be. Hold on 1 minute, Nilda.
Say that again, please.
Aaron asked for a minute, Nilda. I
Okay.
think the message just went out, so he's just checking.
Nope, you're all set, Nilda.
Thank you. All right, next item on the agenda is the consent agenda. In the consent agenda, we have minutes, media packet, and the board annual work plan. Does anyone wish to pull any of those out for discussion? Seeing none, the consent agenda is accepted without objection. Moving on to reports of the board. First report of the board is the student board representative report. And who's going to give that tonight?
Hello everyone, I'm Leonardo Anisman. I'm a current sophomore at BFA St. Albans and part of the Student Voice Committee. Today I'm going to be talking a little bit about our presentation we gave yesterday to our at a staff meeting for BFA St. Albans. We discussed our recruitment process and what that looks like. We focused on how we are implementing equality across the board and in all parts of our recruitment process by having teachers recommend students that they think aren't represented in our current Student Voice Committee. We then interview every single recommendation that we get from the faculty. And during our study hall time, after that, we deliberate within our council and decide which other students we think would be a good fit and whose perspectives are not represented in Student Voice already.
Thank you, Jacoby Soder, senior at BFA, also on the Student Voice Committee. I just want to highlight that we've already had 14 submissions from staff members. That is in about a 24-hour period, which is something we're super excited about, and the opportunity to provide equity in that process and interview every student that was, and offer an interview to every student that was recommended. We are only taking freshmen this year because we have enough folks from the other grades, so we don't feel like we need to do different grades, so we're just gonna take 4 freshmen. And we're really excited to move through this process and get to meet a lot of cool people. And also in future meetings, if you would like, we can share with you the presentation that we gave to the staff, and then we could also go into a little bit more depth about the process. And then something that we're offering that's new this year that we're really excited to offer is a self-nomination forum for students. So that way we can offer the students an opportunity to self-nominate themselves. And that way it's not just teachers nominating. So that feels like we're also offering another avenue to get involved and another avenue to capture more voices, which we're super excited about.
Thank you. Anyone else? Any of the board members have questions for our student reps? Hearing none, we move on to the next item, which is opportunities for family and community engagement. You have a packet, attachment in your packet is attachment 6B, and I believe this is going to be presented by Stacy, Becky, and Leanne. Is that correct?
Stacy is at an athletic event and it's running a little later, so
Okay.
we're going to punt.
So, yep, we're gonna be fine here. So we're presenting on the family and community engagement, and the time frame that we're reporting out for is September 25th through December 23rd. And my assumption is that you'll get a report out in June for the second half of the year. Thank you. So BFA has many partners and many events, and I spoke with Polly today and got some details around some of her partnership. Spectrum Youth Services sets up an informational table in the lunch area, and students are able to drop by and sort of understand what their services are. And Polly reported that Spectrum has seen an increase in students accessing their services as a result of that table. Another partner is NCSS, so I'm trying to be careful of the acronyms. I know right on time. I know the acronyms are kind of tricky here in education, so NCSS stands for Northwestern Counseling Services. And so the BFA social workers and the crisis team work closely with them. Also, St. Albans Rotary, the Interact Club at BFA, they attend monthly luncheons there, and so the students present, and most recently, the robotics team presented to the Rotary Club there. Of course, we have multiple partners with work-based learning, and you'll hear a little bit more about that through Northwest Career Tech Center. So students that are going out to work and preparing for their career, their juniors and senior year. Parent-teacher conferences happen November 12th and 13th, and they'll happen again April 15th and 16th, and there was a fine arts night on December 16th.
Thank you.
ECP, our early childhood program, partners obviously with our parents and family members, also with NCTC students supporting our classrooms, engaging with the students, and then the St. Albans Town Fire Department. The events that they host include parents, families, and caregiver orientation, August 28th through September 2nd, parent and teacher conferences, aligned with all of the schools and buildings. There's a harvest night through Fairfield that they join in, as well as firefighter visits.
All right, I'm going to talk about the elementary schools. Stacey Rulo. Fairfield's partners and some of their events are NCSS, the Lions Vision screening, which I think all the elementary schools do, which is incredibly helpful. They come in and they can do a very comprehensive job of talking about maybe your kid should get a little extra check at the doctor. We're not sure, but this is what we saw. Worked very diligently with the Fairfield Fire Department. I believe you had a walk this year too with them, didn't you? I remember seeing pictures of that. Fairfield's works with NFI, providing mental health and educational services. Working with the Vermont State Police. What do you do with them?
So they partnered with our walk, so they came and they
Oh,
walked
okay.
through our hallways just introducing themselves.
Yeah, okay. They partner with the Fairfield Community Center quite a bit. They've had parents, family, and caregiver orientation at the beginning of the school year. Again, parent-teacher conferences in November. They have their harvest night, and they had a Fairfield firefighter visit.
And a wildly successful robotics.
Oh, Mary's Robotics, thank you for remembering that.
Wonderful. We're moving on to Northwest Career Technical Center. My name is Leanne Wright. I am the director there. Proud to be the director there. Twice a year, we're required to have advisory committee meetings, and so many of you are on that, on those boards. And that's an opportunity for business and industry to come and see who we are and what we do. And they advise our program instructors to let them know what they're looking for the workforce here through Franklin County. We have multiple partners through our work-based learning program. Too many to thank and to list. We recently had an experience NCTC on November 18th, and what that was a elementary and middle school visit from parents and students to walk around and get a chance to meet the instructors and see whether they have an interest in enrolling in the technical center. We had parent-teacher conferences November 12th and 13th. I just discussed the advisory night and how that works. Our first ever Northwestern Medical Center trunk or treat. We served, I think, over 350 families. We rolled our NCTC van up there, popped open the trunk. We had a Scooby-Doo costume and a Shaggy costume, and we actually ran out of candy. Yeah. We continue to have outreach to middle and high school students and their prospect families pretty much through the month of November and December. I want you to know that our cosmetology salon hours are by appointment, and we're open 3 days a week from 3 to 5 to capture the student population, the instructor population, the community, so make your reservations there. They're on our social media and also our website. And the same thing for the automotive program. So we need the community to come in and let us practice on your bodies and your cars.
I just want to say that I'm on the Community Advisory Committee for Human Services, and I meet, like, there's so many people there, like CCV and all these places that are looking to help our students. I find it very enlightening when I go twice a year.
We appreciate you.
All right, SACS partners. I added a picture and another thing, but sorry, a little late to the party. We work closely with NFI and NCSS for our kids' mental health services. They're very strong community partners. They work well with, I think, all of our elementary schools. We've worked with Restorative Justice. They will often call and say, harm has been done. Could they do this at your school? And we try to make it work. We have used voices recently when we have HHBR situations and maybe it's a repeat and a different voice helps. Voices will come in with parent permission and do some education with students as well. We have lots of class presentations from the St. Albans City Fire Department. I think we come back in the spring and talk about what we do again. So I've already talked to Matt, I think his name is, of the fire department, and when it gets warmer out, not now, but when it gets warmer out, we're going to do kind of a water parade with the fire department. They're going to parade through and spray us, and we're going to spray them. The other bullet that I added that's not on there is we do a lot of work with the veterans. And that looked, the picture showed perfectly like the 3 ways they meld. There's the parade, there's the breakfast, and there's the cadet program that we have a former teacher who comes in and kids can volunteer during their morning time to be part of that. And they help, they do flags. It was very nice. Yeah. We also have an open house. We have parent-teacher conferences. We did an Act 1 night to introduce Act 1. The other thing is when I was walking out with Meg Jarvis, our homeschool coordinator, I was like, oh, we work a lot with CVOEO as well with our family. So that's another community partner that we spend a lot of time working with. All right, SATEC. SATEC also works with NCSS. They have the Lions Club vision screening as well. They have lots of class presentations from the town fire department. They have, I'm jealous, they probably have more NCTC work-based experience places that, workers than we do. Their DLO attends events like open house and concerts. Their most recent band concert had 200 plus attendees. And they had open house, which had, in the fall as well, which had 300 plus attendees.
What questions do you have?
Yeah, we're done!
Did you do this before?
Yes.
Before
Yes.
you-
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, we were supposed to do this in December, or in January,
January.
weren't we?
Yes,
I don't remember, but I'm glad I didn't miss it.
Yeah.
yes.
Awesome.
No questions, great.
Love that.
Thank you. Thanks for that presentation. Next item is the new 6C, which is high reliability schools. And I believe Megan and Kelsey are presenting this. unless there's
And
a change.
Stacy and Nick.
That's Stacy.
Different Stacy.
And Stacy and who?
Stacy Tully and Nick Allen.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Okay.
Should we stand?
Yeah, stand, get up in the front.
Come on.
Well, it should.
I was gonna say, wait for the intro slide.
I'll stand in the back because
Can you present it?
Yeah, I have the,
Okay,
Oh.
you get to sit down.
oh yeah, sorry. I mean, do you want me to stand up there? Okay. I can stand up there. So tonight we're really excited to share with you information about the High Reliability Schools Framework. What we hope to accomplish is to give you a very high level understanding of what this is, and then get right into what does this look like in our schools. But this is something that the leadership team has been looking into for a couple of years. We'll also hear about that too. But it's something that we're really using to guide our work, and we'll be continuing to use to guide our work, both in our planning and our implementations and the things that we're pursuing in our schools, to continue our trend of excellence and growth. So at that level, I was trying to kind of think about how can we envision this and simplify it, because we can get into nitty-gritties and too much technical detail with this, because as any framework, it can really have a lot of different layers. But at the heart of HRS, it's really helping us figure out what is the right work, how do we know we're doing it right, how do we know we're doing it, and how do we sustain it. And so it's all kind of this like figure eight, and continuously helping us to look at the work that we're doing. Is it making the impact we want it to make, and are we doing the right things in our schools? Some quick facts about high reliability schools. It's based off of a framework called the High Reliability Organizations, where we study, or where folks have studied what is it that the most successful organizations, and in this instance the most successful schools, what are those consistent conditions that exist that enable them to be high performing and highly reliable. It's based on 40 plus years of research. It's done by the Marzano Resources Group. They're very well respected in the education community. It defines what successful schools do, provides us with consistency and flexibility, and there are 5 progressive levels, which we'll talk about in a second. So, this is very tiny, sorry. But I also asked people, like in a nutshell, what do you think HRS is? If you were trying to explain this to somebody, what would you say this is? So I've got a couple quotes here. One is very simple. HRS is our framework for schooling. This is just how we do school. Then we have HRS tells us the conditions that need to be in place across all schools and gives us a way to measure our progress. It validates what we're doing and gives us a path to what's next. Then high reliability schools is a framework to ensure schools perform at an optimal level by providing students with high quality instruction and support. While it's not an additional initiative for schools to take on, it does improve the quality of instruction by implementing 5 progressive levels. And finally, HRS moves us from a system where success happens by chance to one where success is guaranteed by design. That was a powerful addition today, yeah, right? Yeah, I love that one. That was Stacy. So to get into it a little bit more, and this is really to expose you to vocabulary, to let you see some of what this is as we move forward with our planning and talking about how we're incorporating this. You're going to hear so much more about this, and soon you're going to be HRS experts. Today, you're going to be HRS informed. So HRS, the High Reliability Schools Framework, has 5 progressive levels. The foundational level is, level 1 is safe, supportive, and collaborative culture. And then we build upon that to effective teaching in every classroom, build upon that to guaranteed and viable curriculum, build upon that to standards reference reporting, and finally competency-based education. And so those are 5 buckets, and there's lots of things underneath those. And while they are progressive and you build upon the successes of the prior one, there's work happening across all of these all of the time. It's not that we're waiting to do something in one level, but we know that once the bottom of the pyramid or the bottom levels are as well implemented as possible, all of the other levels will just be able to be more successful because the conditions breed success. So the 5 levels help us to determine what is the right work. There's something called leading indicators for each one of the levels, which helps us really see how do we know that we're doing this in our schools? What would we look for? What would we ask? What would we find out in a school that has these conditions? And so you actually have a little handout with all of the levels and the indicators. If you want to read those, but it really helps us get down to, okay, here's this big idea. What does this actually look like when it's done well in our schools? And we're going to talk about a lot of examples of that in a little bit. So you have this handout. And then there's something called lagging indicators, which help us understand, are we doing it right? And help us think about how do we sustain it. And so when we are thinking about each one of the conditions that we want to have, we're able to find evidence that people think our school is a safe place, that our school is an orderly place. These are just some examples. And then we look for those schedules that show that we have this work happening. We might have a written procedure that shows that this work happens. We might have collaborative teams that shows that we're doing what we're supposed to be doing to move our schools in the direction we want to go in. So how did we get here, Kels?
Yeah, so it's not on here, but Maple Run was established in 2017. So at that time and point, we had St. Albans City School, BFA, Fairfield, and Town. And so that was a time where we were all coming together to get our vision. And so we always want to start off slow, even though we were very excited. Bill always says, let's start off slow to build momentum. And prior to that, when we came together after COVID, we were establishing some key results in what we wanted our district to look like after COVID and identified. That's when we identified that we wanted a curriculum, we wanted protected time, and other things that we were looking for in each school. So we then were building our guiding coalition, and I was a part of that first group that went to HRS, and it was a really great opportunity to be reflective on what is working well, and then where our school and our district needs to be in order to have student achievement and student success. And like Megan said, building those conditions within our school. And then what was great is that we were able to send more teachers, not just district admin, to HRS, so that we're building capacity within our buildings and that we're all using the common language around what HRS is to help keep moving with the momentum. So where we are right now is that the leadership team throughout the year, we've been holding ourselves accountable, and we've been establishing surveys, working with our leadership teams to make sure that we have some of the indicators, getting that baseline data to see where we are and where we need to have improvement.
So what does this look like in our schools?
All right, this is me. So the next 5 slides, they're all organized like this, so you can actually see what's happening. You don't have to read anything. Little boxes right here with the numbers in it, those are your leading indicators. So level 1 has 8 leading indicators, and I think I have 7 up here because 8 is like the budget and things that are happening here at central office. But first level is safe, supportive, and collaborative culture. What's great about this in Marzano is if you don't have this, you can't do any of the other levels. You have to take care of this in your schools first. So how do we do that? We have levels 1 and 2 where the faculty and staff perceive school environment, and the community and the students and the parents perceive the school environment as safe and orderly. How do we do that? We have multi-system, multi-tier system supports. We have Vermont PBIS, St. Albans City School joined PBIS this past year, so all 3 of our pre-K through 8 schools have that. We selected a SEL curriculum this year called Wayfinder. We had 2 great trainings, 2 great professional development, like one of the best that I've ever had, to support the work that we're doing with the SEL competencies. And we're focusing on self-management this year and self-awareness. Every school has a leadership team, and staff work with the administrators to make decisions. Schools also have SEL and RP committees. We have PLCs, where every Wednesday during early release we get together with our teams. And it was a tough start this year. It was a tough start getting back into PLCs after COVID, because we had tried it before COVID, and PLCs didn't have a really great taste on everybody's, in everybody's mouth. So we worked on it, we came up with a great protocol, but teachers were still struggling. So the PLC committee continued to meet, and they developed 5 domains: content, instruction, assessments, SEL, and attendance behavior. Each one of those domains have leading questions to help staff with their work. So what they can do now is they can look at this and say, okay, what do we want to focus on in our PLCs for the next couple weeks or the next month or so? Like, for example, my group is working on fluency. We've been working on that for months. We just got our middle of the year data. Today we looked at that data and we made our steps for where we're going to go from there. And then Kelsey mentioned surveying, and this is really how we get feedback from our community and staff, is by surveys. We're hoping, Jacoby, I'm going to call on you. The Student Voice Committee, are you working with the middle schools, right? Trying to get that?
That has equally been a rocky start.
I know it has.
We have been reaching out into what avail that has been minimal. I will say that we will be in Fairfield on March 11th. I won't be there. I will be out of the state, but I have full faith in the folks that will be there. It sounded like SATEC really is kind of doing their own thing and does have a student voice committee and is meeting regularly, and city school, our efforts have really not accomplished a whole lot, but we are still hoping to get in touch with everybody.
So that's what the hope is, to get the voices down into the middle school and get them really acclimated with that so they're ready for when they go to high school. And they have a lot to say about, I mean, they're middle school students, right? They have a lot to say. It's a really tough time in their lives, and we want to give them that voice. So you put all of these together. Oh, I'm sorry. 1.7 is school acknowledging the success of the whole school as well as individuals within the school. This really it falls into RP and the communities of practice work that we did with Starling Collaborative. Drills, having your relocations, your fire drills, your lockdowns, clear the halls, all of that is followed. There's a schedule that the admins have to follow for that. And when you put all of that together, you have a safe, supportive, and a collaborative culture, which I believe all of our schools, that's why it's all up here, all of our pre-K through 8 schools are doing this. And Kelsey's gonna do the second level.
Great, so I have effective teaching in every classroom. So we want to ensure that every child has equal access, equal opportunity to get rigorous content. So we really are taking the next step as admin as part of our supervision and evaluation work, and so that's part of level 2. So what I'm going to talk about is also our curriculum that we have up here. So to ensure that what a child gets at Fairfield, they're also going to get at City, and they're also going to get at Town for their curriculum. So we adopted the Amplify reading curriculum. We adopted the IM Math, so illustrative mathematics. Every school is following the science of reading. Here for 2.5 and 2.6, that we're always providing that job embedded PD. So we're ensuring that if teachers need further support to ensure that their instructional strategies are being effective, they have access to coaching and also professional development through in-service days. One of the things that as a leader that we're responsible for is to provide the school vision to our teachers so they know exactly what is expected of them. So for me, a vision that I put out is that I really ensure that project-based learning is a part of our school culture, and that is something that we do. 2.5, again, this is just an example of some of, Megan made a great menu this year of professional development, what our in-service days look like. So yeah, really this is just focusing on the teachers and making sure that we are pushing the teachers to get as much new learning and stay consistent. Yes.
UDL.
Oh yes,
Universal
UDL.
design.
Yes.
That makes part of level 2 as well.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you. It's up at the top.
Yep.
Sorry, that was my bad. Yes. And readdressing that, so that is the plate that is going to provide the instruction for the students to come to. So it's a great way to hold our adults accountable. We hold our students accountable, but this is an opportunity to hold our teachers accountable to making sure that they're giving the best that they can to our students.
I'm going to talk about level 3 or guaranteed viable curriculum, which most everybody here has heard that used in our district for a long time now. It's just making sure that our curriculum is guaranteed across all of our schools. And the viable part is really important, is that it can be carried out in the time that we have with the resources that we have at every single school. So it turns less into an idea and more of a promise that we can make to parents and community members about what our students are learning. So with 3.1, just making sure that all of our standards are aligned to state and national standards, and we've already started that work with our Amplify program, our IM Math program, our SEL practices, are all rooted in science and best practices. We also have implemented protected time in our schedules that helped norm our schedules across the district. With that, along with pacing guides to match our curriculums so that all of our students and teachers can grow together. And then taking a look at all of this and going back to our continuous improvement plans that are building based, that help us look at the problems that we have and grow from there. And I know I was in the meeting for like SATEC, we looked at our OKRs, and that really drives our work of how we're all moving towards achieving on those and really taking temperatures in our personal building of the things that we're doing well at and things that we need to relook at. Then we also have using Panorama to collect data that are that monitor math, literacy, behavior, and SEL data that's looked at our buildings at grade levels. Leadership teams used extensively by our coaches and district staff to make sure our students are getting what they need. Even myself, I teach band, but I'm also our win time coordinator. I have access to all of this so that we can make sure that kids are with the right teacher and really maximizing that time that they have and make sure they're getting that help. And then finally, making sure with M-Class has helped fill in the individual needs of our students' learning, giving focus to our win time in our buildings and help target our needs in math and literacy instruction. It's actually really cool. We talked about this at leadership. M-Class and All Learners Network, which Illustrative Math is paired with, is actually helping our classroom teachers use win time to fulfill our EST needs in classroom rather than taxing more on our interventionists. So it's making just all of this makes high usage of our school days.
Can you go back to, oh, it's up here again. Oh, no. Okay, so you can see that some of the graphics show up more than once because the indicators, they overlap each other and they support each other. So this is level 4 standards reference reporting. And I just want to give a shout out to the proficiency skills book that I have up here. Nick and I were in a cohort that went to Orlando with Megan this past summer. And Leanne, yes. So we had a lovely week in Orlando and learned a lot. But one of the authors of this book, Philip Warwick, we were in a breakout session and he gave us an AI prompt very specifically worded to make proficiency skills. And then, so I shared that with Megan and Keely Garso, who is the head of our literacy committee. She's the literacy committee coordinator. And Keely tweaked it just a little bit and came up with these wonderful proficiency skills for 7th and 8th grade literacy. So I was like, oh, okay, well, I'm going to use your prompt. So then I created them for kindergarten up through 6th grade. So right now we have proficiency skills that are based on the standards. So this is our common literacy language. Math has one also. We use Panorama to look at data. Our PLCs, we are looking at our data and making sure students are succeeding so they can become proficient in their standards. We're also using MTSS again to make sure that we have no students falling through the cracks. And then down here is the pacing guide. And math and literacy both have pacing guides, and we are constantly revisiting them to make sure that they are viable. So when the pacing guide first came out, when we first started Amplify, you can't teach all of Amplify in 1 year. You just can't do it. On paper it can be done, but in the realities of a classroom, it can't be done. So 2 summers ago in our summer work, we looked at all the skills and concepts that were in all the units. We found where there was a lot of overlap. So we were able to take some units out without the kids missing anything. John made sure of that. We presented it to John and he okayed that. So this is the first year that all 3 pre-K through 8 schools have the same exact report card. And so it was math and language, math and literacy were worked on. I believe science and social studies are being worked on.
And unified arts.
Yep, unified arts. And then also SEL. With our SEL competencies, which I mentioned before, that are in self-awareness and self-management. So again, when you put all of this together and we are interacting with all of this, we then can come up with, as close as we possibly can to have 3 pre-K through 8 schools really aligned with what the students are hearing and what we are assessing them on, and using common assessments also. It's great to have a common report card, but if you're not close on the assessments that you're giving, or if everyone's all over the pacing guide, then it really doesn't matter. So staying on the pacing guide is really important to make sure that you're getting through all of the curriculum. And then if you want to go to level 5 is really small because it's competency-based education, which in the pre-K through 8 schools, we really don't have. This means that when you master something, you can move on, rather than being assigned a grade level that you go through and all of that. I know the state is working on this right now, correct, Megan?
A lot of the state legislation about PBGRs and things like that kind of started at a level 4 and 5, and then since then, we've seen a lot more of a focus on levels 1, 2, and 3 with legislation, realizing that there are more conditions to a school than just the proficiency-based graduation requirements. And so is validating that we have work happening across all of these areas. But knowing that that was for a while a big push at the agency is to think about what are those transferable skills, what are the multiple pathways, so the multiple pathways, work-based learning, all of those things, so that students can really pick the pathway that works the best for them. So we do have a lot of the tenets of competency-based education present, but it's level 5 for a reason.
Yeah. Yeah. And in high reliability schools, correct me if I'm wrong, levels 1, 2, and 3 are like they're required. But when you get to levels 4 and 5, is it optional? Like if you were to become an HR3 school or HRS school?
I think, yeah, I'm not exactly sure of
Okay.
that level of detail, but there are some schools that do, I think, tap out at level 4 because that's the level 5 maybe isn't part of their legislation or anything like that in their school, in their states. But levels 1 through 3 are absolutely essential, and level 4 is really that where you start to see a lot of those results and those lagging indicators to show that we're doing the thing right because we're getting these results.
Do any of you have any questions for us?
I know Jack seems to have one, and I have one after Jack. Jack's hands up.
I think that's just a hand on the Zoom.
Okay, so I have a question. We spoke a lot about intervention for kids on the lower level. What are we doing about our kids that are already above level, like hit the competency level, and ensuring that they're continuing to be pushed forward and higher?
So when we look at our PLC questions that guide us, in addition to the domains that we showed you, there's 4 questions. It's what do we want them to learn? How do we know that they're learning it? How do we know if they are not learning it, and what are we going to do about it? And then what are we going to do if they know it, right? That's where my work often comes in, because I look at the data a lot with the teachers, and if you have students, for example, who are testing out of word reading, okay, so those trick words that you want to have automaticity with, if they've tested out of that, there should be enrichment happening for them in the classroom, okay? Every student in the district, some, okay, but for the majority of students in the district, they are all instructed on grade level, even when they're not. We're instructing them, their first instruction is on grade level. But a student who is tested out of word reading should not be learning trick words that maybe the rest of the class is doing. That's an opportunity for that teacher to push them. So, and sometimes you can, we haven't had it, go ahead.
Yeah, I was gonna say what that could look like is during a what I need time, so win time. So that's when they would get that enrichment. When they're doing the class work, they're gonna be doing what their classmates are doing, and then it's up to the teacher to identify what would they do next.
Yep.
I would also say that it's embedded in the proficiency scale. So proficiency scale is an articulation of the learning progression for what we're hoping, what the student learning outcome. And there's a level 4 where we really clearly will articulate this is what level 4 work looks like, what a project might look like, and so that we have some alignment there too around what those enrichment opportunities look like across the district.
Yeah, thank you for that.
Starting.
Yeah.
I love that you started with PLCs and started with that, and then I was like, also proficiency.
But that's a great PLC question is, what do I do?
Yeah, because there are kids, I know we work a lot with the kids getting at level, but there are students that are above level. How do we ensure that they continue to use their brain and move forward? Because statistically speaking, by 4th grade, most of those kids will level up because they have not been challenged.
And we also do not want to stick them on computers. Yes. Like there's a lot of great enrichment, but you have to balance it out, right? We don't want to just say, oh, well, you know it.
You go do something else.
Go do something else, no.
A concrete example in math classes, I speak in middle school, I'm not sure how it's on K4, but all the kids do math menu, and math menu is great on what that specific student is working on for skills as far as that. So it's grade level. Like the kids always come into my room and go, what color of math menu are you working on this week? Because it's based on the skills that they're working on based on their testing.
Ours are mild, medium, and spicy.
Oh, I like it.
That's awesome. Okay, thank you.
Jack, did you have a question, or is that just the cursor on our screen making it look like your hands up?
Just cursor.
No. Okay.
Good.
I have a question.
Oh, okay.
I probably should know this, but I don't. What is NFI?
Northwestern Family Institute.
Yes. I looked right at Stacy.
I looked at you too. Yeah, but I think Family Institute, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. It's similar to.
So what is it? I didn't catch it. Northwest Family
Institute.
They're similar to.
Institute.
Yeah, it works a lot with families after post-adoption.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
This may be like kind of far down the road, but like, are there plans to have like, looking at like, especially level 1, it says like teachers have formal roles in decision making, and then it says students have formal ways to provide input. Is there like a way to make it so that it's like students and teachers have formal roles in decision making? Is that like an ultimate goal, and like students in partnership shaping like pedagogical practices with administrators and teachers, or is that not included in this framework?
So I think the goal is always to get the input, right? And that's what we're doing by getting the survey, where we survey parents, we survey our staff, and we survey the students, and then the school leadership team comes together, and then that's where we make some decisions. Unfortunately, sometimes it's the principal because that's the role you sit in, or sometimes it's Bill making those decisions. But the goal is always to get input, because sometimes I don't really know what's happening in the middle school, and I want to know it from a student's perspective. And I think that's the most powerful part, is we want to ensure that every component in the school has a voice and an opportunity to give that to us.
And with these, again, it's the conditions that exist in high reliability schools, and we get to translate that into our own context and to our own strengths and opportunities for growth. And as we continue to incorporate this more and speak more about this as part of our major planning process, we'll have more formal ways to be assessing those things, creating specific goals in those areas that we are still striving to get to more full implementation. We'll be looking to share things out and also hear and get more feedback from people about how these conditions are thriving in our schools and where we need to pay some more attention.
Yeah, I mean, Jacoby, one of the things when we've talked as a leadership team, student voice comes up a lot on that one points at a lot. Yeah, yeah, that's one of our main ways, along with surveys that happen, because you know, you've seen you and our those surveys, but I mean, it's also like those listening sessions that you're putting together, that SVC is putting together with students. Those types of things.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Bree.
All right. Okay.
Nelda, can I just say something to all the staff that are here? Because we're almost at 7 o'clock. You can stay as long as you'd like, but don't feel like you have to stay.
That was no hesitation.
It's my birthday today, so I'm gonna go.
I will go watch you from home.
Enjoy us.
Bye guys, have a great day.
You too. I love your jacket.
Thank you.
It's adorable.
It's a little girl, she will let
Okay, Bill, thanks for that. Next item is old business. Vermont Education System Reform Status and Updates. This could be a possible action item, it's not in the address that way in the agenda, but in talking about it, we thought it might need to be. So this goes back to those joint letters, right? I had contacted the school board chairs of the schools in Franklin County to see if they were interested in joining us to send a letter to the legislators and the Vermont Education Leadership Team and one other group. sort of a joint letter, and sign it with us, the redistricting task force, maybe. Anyway, it took a little while to get responses, but I have heard from the MRUSD school boards, and they've got a better name than that, but, and they want to join us. I also heard from the Fairfax schools boards combination, and they would like to be part of the joint letter. I got a response from the Franklin Northeast Supervisory Union, very comprehensive response that boiled down to, thank you, but thank you for all the work you've done. So that it was very nice, and her reasons made sense, I guess, in her perspective. They didn't want to get, the right word is pigeonholed into anything, I guess. So what I'd like to do, since we talked about this a couple weeks ago, is now send that letter out that we were going to send, along with the attachments that we were going to add to those people, the legislators and the other groups that I mentioned. I apologize for not stating them correctly, from the joint group. But I'd like to have it be an action item so that we have on record that our board agreed to do this as a group. And it might be overkill to do that this way, but I think in light of how difficult it was for these boards to kind of come up with a response that I thought was going to be a slam dunk, I think we should go on record as having an action item. Any discussion about that, please?
Doesn't seem to be any.
What did you say?
Doesn't seem to be any.
Okay. Well, is there any disagreement with what I said? Or can we take a vote to send the letters as we discussed in the last month? And Aaron, we can get the right language from the previous minutes to all those groups. Would that work for everyone?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Okay, thank you. So I'd like someone to make a motion, please, to send out the joint letter to the legislator, et cetera, legislature, et cetera, in regards to our position on redistricting and other stuff.
I'll make a motion. Mary Ann.
Mary Ann. Is there a second, please?
I'll second Nakuma.
Thank you. I apologize for saying other stuff. I just don't have the letters in front of me, and I can't remember all the subgroups. So, but I really appreciate the support that you guys have given them for this. So I'm going to take a vote. Amanda?
Yes.
Charlie?
Yes.
Jack?
Yes.
Jessica?
Yes.
Joanna?
She's not here.
She's not here, guys, she's not here.
Oh, I didn't know that. Make a note of that. Thank you. Carly?
Yes.
Mary Ann?
Yes.
Nakuma?
Yes.
Suzanne?
Yes.
And Hilda votes yes. Thank you, motion carries. Bill, do you remember the groups that we were gonna send this letter to, just so I don't sound like such an idiot?
What I believe to remember is the Franklin County legislators, the governor, and I think at the time we talked about the redistricting task force, which is now no longer in existence, but we sent to them, and I think members of House and Senate Education.
That's it, that's the one I totally forgot. Okay, thank you for that.
Yep.
So that motion carries, and I will make that happen. The next item on the agenda is budget communication, and we have an attachment, 7B in our packet. And we should talk about this. Bill, were you going to speak to this?
A little bit, I mean, what I was gonna suggest, we looked at this last time, and I know Charlie, I wanted you to talk a little bit, you had scheduled some times, I believe.
Yes.
They're on the attachment to be at the Travel Cup. And I know you and Aaron started to publicize that. The annual report is out to be printed, and the budget insert for the messenger is, I know that Aaron's working with them to get that ready as we do every year. We're also there, you may have seen it, and it was in the consent agenda. There have been different articles about the school system. The latest one was an update on this cell phone free environment up at BFA, and how, I mean, that's at all schools, but just how that's, our behaviors have really, instances have gone down quite a bit. So that was what that article was about. And we have a couple other articles lined up in the queue for the 14th and each week going out here in February, I believe.
Great.
Yep.
Thank you. Anybody on the board have anything they'd like to add? Jack?
I've written a letter to the editor about the healthcare costs. It's really coming from my role as a board member on the Vermont School Board Association. But what the association is doing is having representatives like myself write letters to the editor from their local town or city and their local newspaper, ours being the Messenger. I've sent the letter in, and the basic, it's kind of a boilerplate letter, but I've inserted the healthcare issues with Maple Run. And when you analyze the 2.44% increase, I've realized, and I've talked to Brianne about this, and she's helped me with the figures, the entire increase, 3/4 of it is healthcare for staff. Only less than 1% of the increase is everything else. So we have basically a budget increase that involves healthcare for the most part, and everything else is increased less than 1%. It's actually 0.83 to be exact. So I didn't want to say 0.83 because some people will interpret that as an 83% increase or something. But I was a little careful about the numbers. But 3/4 of the increase is healthcare. And I think the public needs to know that you folks in the administration have done a great job keeping our budget down to 2.44% increase, knowing that only 1/3 of it is all the other needs that we have as a school district. So hopefully, I know I've seen it online, so my letter's out there, but it'll come out in print on Friday's edition.
Thank you for doing that, Jack. Anyone else?
I just wanted to, the dates of my coffee chats are correct in the handout that we've got. This February 7th, February 22nd, and February 28th. I'm just saying, in case someone happens to be looking at this video in the future, there might be some post out there that says February 21st for my second date, and that was a mistake on my part. I gave Erin the incorrect dates, and we've corrected it. So I don't know if she's publicized it, but I know everyone loves my coffee chats, so if anyone has February 21st circled, then it's actually February 22nd for the second one.
Thanks, Charlie. All right. Well, if you folks think of anything that we haven't mentioned already, please contact Bill at the central office, and he'll make it happen. So that was budget communications. Oh, and Bill, did you say this? You were gonna work on the PowerPoint?
Yeah, the PowerPoint, Aaron and I met today. I think at the next meeting, I'm hoping, Nilda, that you and I and Bree before then will have a chance to chat and go over it. And it's pretty much taking last year's PowerPoint and putting in this year's figures. And
Okay.
then we can do a dry run, practice run to the next board meeting for everyone.
Yeah, could you zhuzh it up a little bit so that it's,
Just your parts, no, not mine.
Oh, okay.
I want mine to be nice and dry.
Okay. Okay, so moving on to new business. Town meeting day prep. So, what about that, Bill?
So it's really that, it kind of goes into the to the part B there, the town meeting is, we have our informational meeting on February, sorry, I gotta go to my calendar here. 25th, thank you, Carly.
Because I won't be there.
Carly. Thanks,
I'll be
Carly.
in LA.
So, I know Nilda and Bree and I have to be there. It's not an official board meeting, and we're doing it right here. But didn't know who else might be part of that. And then, getting out information about the next part, the next item on, which is we have an open board seat, but there isn't anyone that has turned in a petition for. So.
Lovely.
That's kind of, as we talked as we prepared for today's meeting on Monday, I think it was Monday night, the three of us talked, it's making sure that we're pretty open and transparent about, there are only two petitions that have been received for 3 seats right now.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, okay, thank you. I think, you mentioned a lot about anything we've done in the past, especially the last vote, because it went so well. Let's use it again,
Yeah.
Okay, new business B, open board seat. So we have one open board seat to serve the town. We know that Jack and Susie are running unopposed for their seats. And we know that no one has filled out a petition to get on the town ballot, or ballot for the town board. I made a couple phone calls to a couple of people I know, and I could not convince them that it was the best move of their life. One person was legitimately really busy. The other person just didn't show any real interest. So, I can take a no after I work on it for about 20 minutes and they can say yes, I kind of drop it. But I think if anyone knows of anyone, and of course we'll take advantage of all these places that people are attending, including the coffee talks at the Travel Cup. One of the things that we researched, and Bill assured me that this is correct, that person needs to get 30 votes.
Yeah.
Some total of 30 votes from all of the districts, correct?
That's correct, from across all 3 towns. It's 30 votes
Right,
total.
so.
Mary Ann's our example. She did that very successfully last year. So.
It's almost easier to write as I write it.
1.5 years ago.
1.5, sorry, Mary. Time flies.
Yeah.
Who's counting?
So, anyway. I've seen write-ins work. I've actually seen write-ins work where it was, there were 2 people running, so the person was opposed and it worked. I don't know if it's legal anymore. You used to be able to have those little name stickers that you could pass out as long as you stood so many feet away from the door of the voting area and encourage people to, stick it on their ballot if we do get a write-in candidate. But I know they've tightened some of those rules, so I don't know if that still works. If anybody knows anyone that you'd like me to call, I'd be happy to do that. I'm sorry about a loss, I'm kind of thinking of, can we recycle some people too? So we'll work on that.
I think the only other thing I would add to that is if we don't have someone that is written in, that this board will be advertising and appointing, which we've done before as well.
Right, right.
Yeah.
And we have a couple people, one for sure that is presently on the board due to having applied that way. The next item is the transportation bid award, and this is an action item, and it is attachment 8D. Now, this is a contractual matter, so it can be discussed in executive session as long as we have a finding that premature knowledge would be a problem. My question, Bill, for you is, does it make sense to just put this at the end for executive session, or should we talk about the first part?
Well, I think we should notify maybe Bree, you can give a report of the memo you gave.
Yep.
The board that's in the packet. We will need an executive session to talk about reference checks.
We don't need the executive
No, we
session?
do. We do need the executive session to talk about reference checks.
Right,
Yeah.
right. Okay, so let's talk about the memo, so transportation bid award memo, Bree,
Yes. Okay.
please.
Yes, so we had posted this out to, I believe it was 14 different vendors across the United States. Some of them were national companies and then others were local companies. Currently we are using Terracel Transit as our, Terracel Transit / or DBA Grand Avenue Transportation as our vendor. And their current year costs for the daily transportation, can you hear me, Nelda?
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, okay. The daily transportation, the CIP special needs bus, and the bus that goes back and forth between the high school and the complex. Currently that is $1,689,000. Terracel Transit came in as the lowest bidder year over year, FY 27, 28, and 29. And the costs are on there, but it's 1.7 million across each one of those years with slight increases, 1 to 2% each year. Matthew Enterprises came in at 1.9 million and up to $2 million. And then First Student came in at 2 million up to $2.3 million. And all of those exact figures are listed on that memo. So with all those costs, Terracel is the lowest bidder on this. We do have letters of recommendation that were also attached in everybody's board packets. And what's not listed on here is the daily field trip costs or each one of the occurrences of the field trip costs. Those weren't factored in there because we don't have a standard complete rate as we don't know where they're going from year to year. Is there anything that I'm missing, Bill?
No, I mean, we did call references and called people that we knew worked with the companies that weren't on their reference list to get recommendations and asked a list of questions.
Okay, so we'll take our action after the executive session? Correct? Oh, yeah. Well, that's what I want to do.
Yeah.
And then we'll do the executive session at the end of our business. So moving on to item 8E, arrange grievance hearing. Bill, I'm going to let you handle that part of it.
And I'm going to ask Becky to chime in here.
Okay.
This just goes through our HR department, but you'll see it in the packet, and we have a grievance that's coming to step 3, so the board will hear this, and we need to arrange a time to have the board hearing it. I attached the letter that went to Nilda. We redacted the names because this is a public document. We didn't want the people involved to be part of it. and we need to protect their privacy. When the hearing occurs, you will see this document with redactions removed. I can't go much into it because I will be one of the ones presenting and you'll be sitting in quasi-judicial role as a board, so I can't really say much more than that. Becky can talk to you about what the master agreement talks about for timelines and when we need to do this by.
So we have 30 school days to respond to this step 3 part of the grievance, which means it's no later than, we meet no later than March 23rd. We'll be sending out a doodle poll to gather everyone's availability so that we can bring us all together and move this process forward.
And we'd like to do it on a non-board meeting night, so it's not, we're not feeling pressed for any time.
Right. So, is the best approach to do a Google poll?
We'll
Come
do
up
a doodle
with
poll,
dates?
yes. I'll send that out to the board.
Okay. This board has not handled many grievances, thankfully. So I think it's important to read the information that's in the package just to get the idea of the process. There's not going to be any information about what the issue is because, as Bill stated, we are quasi-judicial, so we are not to know any of the information until it's presented to us at the grievance. So I guess we'll wait for that poll to come out and try to pick a date, and it has to be before March 23rd, correct, Becky?
Correct, and that doodle poll will hit your email tonight.
Okay, perfect. Next item on the agenda is under other business. And first is the warrants. You don't have, yes, you do have. The administration recommends a motion to approve the warrant, acknowledging that passage of this motion will act as authorization and signature of any individual board member participating remotely. May I have that motion?
I'll make the motion to come up.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Thanks, Jack. Any discussion? Hearing none, we'll take a vote. All in favor of the motion, Amanda?
Yes.
Charlie?
Yes.
Jack?
Yes.
Jessica?
Yes.
Carly?
Yes.
Mary Ann?
Yes.
Nikuma?
Yes.
Suzanne?
Yes.
Hilda votes yes. So that motion carries. Next item is the superintendent report.
All right, yes, I think that's me. First, I think you're all aware we had our first big snowstorm last Monday, so we had our first snow day. Trying to keep that down below 3 days, because otherwise that puts us into the next week, so we're working hard on that one. For everyone in this room except Jacoby, we met halfway through the school year on January 23rd. Jacoby was a little earlier because he's a senior. So all the seniors have a week, almost a week, time because of graduation.
Wait, what did you do?
No, you haven't earlier.
You're ahead of the game.
You're ahead of the game because you're a senior. Everyone, the rest of us, halfway was about 23rd. That's me trying to be funny.
I'm more than halfway, I'm glad.
Yeah. Well,
You made it.
remember, I have to sign that diploma. There's 2 signatures.
Well, maybe I'll file a grievance.
The other thing we have a couple other things. There's great things going on in schools. And, Megan and I recorded a podcast today, and we were both kind of a little lost for like what's going on, and it's really what's going on is there's the work of school going on right now. Being out in schools, there's just good things going on of the everyday that happens of learning. This is a good solid learning block. I don't know if Mike, you would say that or not, you just switched semesters, but this is really a really good instructional time where a lot gets done. So You know, we're not to the end of a season yet. We're just in that time where we can keep 5 days a week going. It really works. And yeah, snow day. Everyone was very happy though. I got a lot of yays on that snow day. It was a really hard one to call when there was 16 inches of snow on the ground. And the last thing is that I have for you is Monday the 16th, we have scheduled for a board session, but we don't have a topic in that. And I didn't know if there was something this board would like to do, if you'd like to take a break from that. Nilda, sorry, I forgot to bring this up with you and Charlie as we were talking on Monday. Aaron whispered it to me today. He's like, hey, we don't have something on the sheet there for a topic. So, I don't know if it's the pleasure of the board.
I have mixed emotions about this, of course. Because I think, you know, we should take advantage of the time, but when I look at our schedules and realize how many events we have to make ourselves available for in the next 2 or 3 weeks, maybe it's okay to take a break, especially since we're like looking for something to be educated on. We had it on the list, or somebody had a really good suggestion, I'm open to it. Anybody?
I agree with you, Nilda.
Thank you.
Thank you. I was kind of hoping it would go that way, but I was just being nice and asking, because I write, Susie, I'm with your tone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree with her a lot.
That's all I have. I don't have a lot tonight.
Susie, did you mean you agree with me on that?
Yes, Nilda.
Oh, okay, thank you. Makes me happy. All right, board announcements. Anyone have a board announcement to make? Yes, Jack?
Today, my daughter, I can't believe it, she's 50 years old.
Oh my goodness.
And next week, my oldest is 52 years old. So, of course, I'm celebrating the 2nd anniversary of my 39th birthday this past July. So, getting old is interesting. But having a 52-year-old and a 50-year-old, and of course you know Mike and Chris, my other 2 kids, they're in their 40s, or Chris is in his 30s, but 52 and 50, I can't believe I have kids that old. But my daughter is still gorgeous, it's kind of unbelievable. But
well, thank you for that. Anyone else?
I don't know how I can follow it, but I'll just say, today I received a postcard in the mail for attendance. I don't know if all schools are doing this, but SATEC, I guess, is now sending postcards congratulating the child for attendance for the month of January, so.
Nice.
I don't I don't keep my kid home, I send him to school. We're going. I mean, Monday I was like,
Yeah, you're mad. You want to
where's the bus? But I just thought that was nice, a nice thing for the children to see.
Yeah.
Can I just respond to that? SATEC started that, but it is something that's, I think, is going around. We have 2 different types of postcards. One, we miss you, if some kids are having some problems. It's like, hey, you know, affirming said, like, we'd like you to, like, come, we want you around. And then those ones that are doing well with attendance, recognizing that.
That's great.
Invitation to come back.
Okay. My youngest son got an award at graduation for no absences. And if anybody knows my son, they find that really hard to believe. But, the other, I had one more. Oh, I took a survey from the Vermont Schoolboard Association that got sent to me related to student board representatives on the board. And, you know, they're just trying to figure out how different boards that have student reps handle it. You know, do you go to how many members do you have? Do they go to executive session? Are they allowed to vote? Are they allowed, you know, all those things. So I did that and hopefully represented us appropriately. Oh, speaking of snow days, my daughter and family live in Tennessee, and today was the 8th consecutive school day out.
Oh,
Wow.
that sounds awful.
Yeah, they're paralyzed. You know, they are, there's ice everywhere and they just can't move. Now, I guess it's been melting just a little bit because it's going up a little bit above freezing, but really, it's crazy. It's crazy. She doesn't know if they're going to be, you know, having to take a lot more extra time in school for the summer or what.
You know, my son lives in Virginia, and his kids have been in school this year, 2026, 3 times.
Wow.
And they're doing, you know, virtual learning now because they can't go into June.
Yeah.
But I said, is it really that bad? And she said, my daughter-in-law grew up in Vermont, and she said, I can do this. And she went and she got herself stuck. And she's like, I can't be stuck, I'm a Vermonter.
They don't have the plows. They don't have plows and
8 feet of ice still on the roads.
yeah, they don't have the
That's a lot of ice.
Oh, yeah, and those that do have plows are kind of priced out.
Shouldn't that be on the
right?
news?
8 feet of ice?
Okay. I'm tired, but I know what I heard.
We need to go into executive session here in a minute, so I am going to make a motion to move item transportation bid.
Can I just make one more comment, Nilda, before we move on? I don't know if this falls under future meetings, but I would like to hear the follow-up to the wrestling debacle that's happening, just how it's resolved. I just hate to see any student cut out of any activity that they want to be a part of, because it's such a part of their physical health and mental health and their friend groups. So if there's any way to not put up barriers.
Yeah, and you know, we usually do follow up with comments like that come in the visitor section. Usually Bill or someone who designates a principal or something to respond. So it's not like they just go like.
No, I know. I just would like to hear, if possible.
Yeah, no, I think that's very appropriate. Somebody write that down, we'll get it. Once we have an update, we'll get it to the board for information. All right, so I'm gonna make a motion to move item transportation bid award, which is contractual matter, into executive session for VSA subsection 313A1 after making a specific finding that premature general public knowledge would clearly place the public body or the person involved at a substantial disadvantage. Is there a second for that?
Second.
Thank you. Let's take a vote. Amanda?
Yes.
Charlie?
Yes.
Jack?
Yes.
Jessica?
Yes.
Carly?
Yes.
Mary Ann?
Yes.
Nakuma?
Yes.
Suzanne?
Yes.
Hilda votes yes. Now, also, I'm going to make a motion to enter into executive session to discuss that contractual matter at 7:26 p.m. per VSA subsection 3A1. Is there a second to that?
Second.
Thank you. Let's take a vote. Amanda?
Yes.
Charlie?
Yes.
Jack?
Yes.
Jessica?
Yes.
Carly?
Yes.
Mary Ann?
Yes.
Nakuma?
Yes.
Suzanne?
Yes.
And Milda votes yes. So we will be going into executive session as soon as we get the room in the position that it needs to be in.
Yeah, and I think, Aaron, you're gonna have to put us into a breakout room with the visitors that probably want to stick around.
And we want Thank you.
Yeah.
Is everyone in the room?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. All right, so we're out of executive session. We came out of executive session at 8:03. And I'll entertain a motion in relation to the transportation bids.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
Okay, can you,
I will motion authorize, I'm reading the whole thing.
Yeah.
Authorize the business manager and superintendent to enter contract negotiations with Carousel Transit for a contract.
okay, is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you. Is there any further discussion? Okay, hearing none, we're gonna vote. Amanda?
No.
Charlie?
Yes.
Jack?
Yes.
Jessica?
Yes.
Carly?
Yes.
Mary Ann?
Yes.
Nakuma?
Yeah.
Suzanne?
Yes.
Nilda votes yes. All right. Motion carries. And meeting is adjourned. Thank you all.
Thank you very much.
Can we get like 1 more meeting?